I'm Peter Haddock, and I'm here at Highways UK with Dr. Joanna from National Highways. We talk every year, Joanna, and every year, folks, changes are happening. You've got a fantastically large title now, Dr. Joanna, but basically tell me what that is and what have you been doing? Because again, a year later, things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, Peter. So I'm now called Research Development and Innovation Director. So I still have the same fabulous portfolio of exciting projects that I look after. But this better describes all the great work that we do. And in particular, this year, we started really looking at how we do innovation within National Highways and how we can do even better with what we've got. So, for example, we've focused a lot on pilots and trials in the organisation. We're now going to look at focusing more on scaling and sustaining and adopting successful innovation.
So that means like you're kind of getting a level up. So you've found a lot of innovations, and we talked about those the last time we spoke. We talked about 3D concrete printing, all different things. But now it's about saying we understand how that works. We've helped people and startups and bigger businesses coming to the sector, and now it's about commercialising it and making it worthwhile to do on site.
Absolutely. So as part of this work, we've been looking at the ISO standard for innovation management. Taking, there's some of the really good bits from it and looking at how it applies to National Highways. And from that, we've created a scorecard to look at innovation ideas. So when we get to the sort of pilots and trials stage, to look at the desirability, the viability, and the feasibility of these ideas. So we can look at, so to be successful and to scale these things, what are all the different things that we need to do? So what do we need to do in our standards? What do our contracts need to look like? And then what's that market for the particular innovation itself? And then how can we work with supply chain to help create that market?
And so I'm guessing, the way in which this is happening now is at pace.
Yeah.
So it is really about not rushing through things, obviously, because you've got to make sure everything meets those standards.
Yeah.
But you're already now doing that at that initial scorecard level. So what does that look like when we're bringing things in? And give me some ideas of some of the stuff that is accelerating.
Yeah, well, it's early days for the scorecard, so we're kind of stress testing a lot of projects at the moment in there. But a particular example of how we can look to accelerate innovation is the work we've been doing with Connected Places Catapult on our innovation accelerators, where it gives us that access to small and medium enterprises who've got solutions to some of our bigger challenges around things like decarbonisation, safety, how we use digital in our solutions, and then connecting them with our tier one suppliers, and then enabling not just sort of off-road trialling and concept stages, but where is the right thing to do, moving those activities on road.
Yeah.
So a really good example of this is some work we've been doing with a company called Low Carbon Materials, who have a carbon negative aggregate that can be added to some of our materials. Carbon negative. I know, it's amazing and very exciting to be involved in it. And we're trialling on the M11 at the moment with the aim of collecting lots of data about how that material and that aggregate fares in a real-world environment.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. And I have to say, we've managed to get all of that done within 8 months, which is absolutely incredible.
And this sort of a process of measurement, how is that, been accelerated? And how are you able to just monitor that and make sure that it's doing what it needs to do?
Yeah, I think the key aspect of this is what information do we need, what evidence do we need to update our standards. So our technical specialists within National Highways have been working very closely as part of this work, looking at how to enable this material to go onto the road in what we call a departure from standard. So how do we manage the safety risk of using this? And then what's the evidence that we need to collect over a sort of 12-month period to then feed back in? So if it's successful, we can then update our standards, and then that will enable something like this to be used across our network.
And the big thing is, for me, folks, is what is really important around this is we still have the goal to net zero.
Absolutely.
For National Highways. And, now some things we're never going to get to zero because machines and equipment, for example, use fuel to do the job. when we now see something that's negative, then that takes out the positive emissions, and we get closer to that neutral zone we're trying to get into, don't we?
Absolutely, and it's about looking at it from a system point of view. So any scheme, all the different elements of that, what are the different carbon inputs that are involved, and then how does that all add up to look at the sort of carbon outputs that we've got and the opportunities we have to reduce those.
And so we've got a lot of things like machine control technologies and lots of like systems being used now. We're now moving that technology into paving, compaction, and things like that. And so as we do this, you are able to look at the standards that change. And we've had a big report out from Costain yesterday, and about the whole connected autonomous plant report, £427 billion by 2050 of value into the UK economy. Those are the sort of things that are going to make a difference. But again, it's pushing people into adoption, isn't it?
Yes, and it's about engaging the again, from a systems point of view, everybody involved in the process and engaging them up front. So, but again, going back to when we're thinking about things being successful, so if we need to change the standards, we need the standards experts involved. We need to change our contract. We get our commercial and procurement colleagues involved. All of this up front, and the supply chain are so fundamental to this. Looking at how they work, the great stuff that they're doing in the innovation space as well, and then the culture aspect. So fundamental to all of this is people. So how do you make sure that everybody is bought into this as a concept and understand that it's the right thing to do?
Yeah, and I have the wonderful big P word, people, but also the second big P word that I like to use is productivity as well, because it's got to work for getting the right technologies in there that actually work, picking out the low-hanging fruit, whilst then accelerating in with the other stuff. So all of that needs people, all of that needs new skills as well, like data analysts, stuff like that, into the industry. And so as we accelerate that through, there are going to be more job opportunities in this sector, aren't there? There are going to be different types of jobs for people as we move forward.
Absolutely. And again, as part of our early talent program, we focus very much on what are the future skills that we need. I mean, civil engineering is really, really important to us, but that aspect of digital skills is also sort of fundamental. And we do a lot of work trying to encourage, apprentices in particular into the organisation who can bring us digital skills and help us build that capability.
Fantastic. So we're on the road again, folks. More acceleration with Joanna and the team, bringing new ideas to things, getting closer to that 2050 goal, whilst also really pushing hard to get things on site, on project, and then collecting that all the important data to make sure we can share that out, share the experiences, and make the tweaks and changes that are required. Fantastic to see you again, Jeff. Always brilliant to talk to you.
Cheers. Thank you. Pleasure.